Okay, so we're gonna try to work through lab 6 today. Um, so in unit 6, we worked on the exercise on Tuesday. I finally was able to post. I noticed that I'd forgotten to release the activity, so oops, and you still can't see it. Okay, so now you should be able to see the unit 6 activity. So by Sunday night, do one of these activities. We're kind of wrapping up some of these steps we've been going through with some of these activities with cloud-based stuff there. And today we'll do the lab 6. So you can grab that. And again, with this lab, what we're going to do is break you into teams of 2, and then you'll work together on the lab. You'll share the document with each other for that, and then we can work together to do the lab. And then you'll each submit a link or a copy of the same document when we're done, hopefully, for this here. So why don't we do team assignments here. So we're gonna just do pair people up. So we'll just do it with the pointers nearby. So you two want to be partnered. You two want to be part. You want to part. Do you have any preference? Okay. Why don't we partner here and here? Okay. So we'll do that. We got partners here. Sorry.
Already shared the document.
Okay, so partners, let's you two partner up. Okay, and why don't you two partner up, and depending on David was just in the last class, but I don't see him here, so.
He's already here.
Okay, right. So why don't you just partner up with this, and then we'll have him work on that. So, okay, so have you partnered up? Oops. And again, if you're doing this remotely or asynchronously, you can just complete this lab by yourself here. And the idea is that if you're doing it remotely, you probably can use, if you're in the labs, you can use 2 machines, one machine for your Raspberry Pi and one machine for your for Windows here. And if you're home, hopefully you figured out a way to do that also. So we're really looking at, again, how we connect up remotely to our Raspberry Pi. So far, we've been doing a lot of this, plug in a screen and a keyboard and stuff. But often with cloud-based computers, and even with just Raspberry Pi and small devices like this, we run them in what we call headless mode, which means they don't have a screen or a keyboard or a mouse. We connect remotely into them. Example of that is this. This is just a little robot. At the heart of the robot is just a little Raspberry Pi. And again, you can, if we're working on this, we can just remote into this rather than always connecting up a screen and a monitor for that. So sometimes it's just easier to remote in, and sometimes you have to. Again, we'll look at creating a virtual machine and using the same process. So we'll talk about the same process, basically, or some processes for connecting to a Raspberry Pi and for connecting like a virtual machine. We'll see a lot of the similarities between those here. So boot up your Raspberry Pi. One of the partners should have a Raspberry Pi booted up. So here's my Raspberry Pi booted up. And what we need to do is we need to know or have a username and password on that Raspberry Pi that we know what it is there. So if I go to my Raspberry Pi and bring up the console, it should tell me what the username is. So mine is CSS user at Raspberry Pi. And so the user I'm logged into is CSS user. And maybe you can look at that and maybe you remember what your login, what your password was for that user when you created that. And that would be good. If not, or if you want anyway, you can create another username for that. So if we want to create an extra username, we can do that. We can just say add user. To do that, we need to be a super user. So we use this command sudo super user do here. So we say sudo space add user space and whatever the new user name would be. So if I wanted to add a new user to my Raspberry Pi, here I could do that. Again, I bring up a console. I could say sudo add user and then give it some name. So maybe I just wanted to create a T Gibbons account on that. I could just say T Gibbons. And then it'll ask me for a new password for T Gibbons. Now this is confusing because I will type out the password, but nothing will show up, not even stars or anything like that generally. So I would type in my new password. So type that in and hit enter. Now notice nothing moved. I hit enter, it said retype it. So I had to type in the same one again. And as long as they're good, that's fine. Now it'll ask you for a name. I can skip that. A room number, I don't need that. A work phone number, a home phone number, other. And then ask if all this information is correct. I can say yes. And then I've created that new user. So again, if you're not sure you know what the user is on your Raspberry Pi, it doesn't hurt to create a new user for that. In fact, later on, we'll create another user because depending on how we connect to it, we may have to log in with a different user than is already logged in. Okay, so what we do that, and then step B is to enable secure set shell. Here, this is probably enabled automatically already, but we can check. So we go up to Pi, Preferences, Configuration, Raspberry Pi configuration, to load in the configuration stuff here. So that's down here. We want to look at interfaces, and we want to make sure secure an SSH secure shell is on. You might also want VNC on, which is probably on too there, but we just want to make sure this SSH secure shell is on, and it should be on by default now. It used to not be on by default, but I think on all new Raspberry Pis it's on here. The last thing we want to do is find the address of our Raspberry Pi and write that down here. So a couple ways in your Raspberry Pi, you probably are on Wi-Fi up here. So if you go up there and just hover on that, it should tell you mine is 10.10.76.25. So we should write that down. So again, grab some paper, write that down. Yours will be different here. I'm thinking, it used to be everyone's was 143.110 something something, but with the new network, assuming we're on Wi-Fi, I think we're all 10.10 something here. Another thing you can do is you can type in host name minus capital I. And that'll give you the same address, minus 10.10.76.25. So see if you get all that stuff set. We'll give you a sec to get that up, and then the next step will have to be on Windows computer. So we'll have one person get that all set up on the Pi, and then we'll try to do part D on Windows for that.
Well, we need to connect it. I think we can do something on yours. I think you open PowerShell. Then we Mine would be, I think you have your mine, because we're going to connect to the mine. But, no, you leave that out, just like that.
Okay, so let's go on to step D if you're ready. So again, step D, we're going to run PowerShell on our Windows computer. So on Windows here, I'm going to go down here and just type power and select Windows PowerShell. There might be other PowerShells. We want the Windows PowerShell here. Now it should open up a little console for us to use. And then we're going to type in this command, SSH space, the username at the IP address. So I'm going to type in SSH and then space, and then the username. I created a T Gibbons account at, and then my address is 10.10.76.25. And that address has to be the address of the Raspberry Pi here. So see if you can type that in to connect up to your Raspberry Pi. It'll ask for your password. Enter your password, and then it should show you that you're on your Raspberry Pi, and then try some commands. So let's see if we can get people connected up to their Raspberry Pi. You want to go around and see how people are doing?
Yeah, we're just.
Okay, hopefully you are connected up to the Raspberry Pi from Windows. We're going to try some commands there. So there's some commands here you can do, like print working directory, PWD will tell you what directory you're in. LS will list the files. LS-AL will list all the files there. So those are some commands you can try. Now, I'm going to let you work with a couple tutorials here. Here's tutorial 3 and 5 of this well-known Linux tutorial thing. You've got to find at least 2 commands from tutorial 3, put them in your Windows thing so they're running on the Pi here. And then 3 commands from the tutorial 5 here. So if I go here, open that up, I can read about this, and I can try some of these commands like ls documents. Again, that might and might not work everywhere, because right now I'm in a folder that doesn't have a documents folder. So if I try to type in this ls documents, it's not going to work because there's no folder called documents in my current directory here. But I could try things like print working directory. That should work. Print working directory will work here. Showing my current directory is /home/tgibbons here. So again, your job is to try to see if you can find some commands that will work here. And you have to have 2 from the first tutorial and 3 from the second tutorial. So watch through these tutorials and try them out. You can also try them out. The person who's on the Raspberry Pi, you can also try these same exact things on the Raspberry Pi itself. So I can try ls-al on the Pi and see what it shows. So just try out some commands, take some screenshots of them. We really want screenshots from the Windows, from PowerShell, showing that you're connected up to your Raspberry Pi. Okay, so try that out.
I think that just try ls documents, that would work.
Okay, I'm going to just walk through part 3 here real quick. And if you're not there, you can just watch and then continue on. But again, you can secure shell, and we often do command lines to do a lot of stuff. So you can secure shell, but sometimes you want more than just a shell. You know, a command line prompt for what we call a CLI here. So I'm going to close that. And we're going to try this remote desktop. And if you remember, when we created our virtual machine, we used the same sort of stuff to connect up to the virtual machine. So we're going to try to use that same thing on our Raspberry Pi. We need a dedicated user for this because we can't remote desktop into a user that's already logged in, because we can't have two GUIs, two user interfaces all running with the same user at the same time. So we are gonna want to add a new remote user here for this. So I'm gonna go over here and type in this sudo space add user space, and then give it some name like remote user. I've already created one called remote user, so I'm gonna call mine remote 2, I think. But you should just remember what it's called, and then give it a password. Remember, it's not going to show up. I'm just going to type in remote for my password, so it's easy to remember. I'm going to skip over all this full name and stuff. And then down here, I'm just going to say, yes, it's all correct. So now I have this remote user. I also have to install some software on my Raspberry Pi. So I'm going to try that. I'm going to go sudo apt, which is a kind of package manager that lets us install different things. Install space xrdp. Install. Oh, and maybe so another thing when you're working with command lines, you might get used to is the up arrow will go back in history. So I mistyped it. I can go up, and then I can move arrow over and change the command and try it again. Okay, it looks like this is already installed, so we probably didn't have to install that. At least it was installed on my Pi, so you have to see. Then we want to find that address, and then we want to, on Windows, connect up with this remote desktop. So again, on Windows, I want to type in remote desktop connection. I'm going to minimize this a little bit. Okay. And again, my computer here has to be where I'm connected to. You can see last time I connected up to some computer somewhere else, but I'm going to connect up to 10.10.76.25 to connect up to my Raspberry Pi.
And 76.
It'll warn you that we couldn't verify that computer's identity. You can just say yes. There, it'll bring up this. You have to type in your username, and so again, remote user or remote. Mine was remote 2, and the password mine was remote. There, and you should be able to connect up, and it should give you a new desktop here for this. Now it's asking me for the CSS user account. I'm not sure why. I'm just going to type that in. Okay. There. Okay. So you want to bring up a desktop. So it should look a lot, like the actual desktop of the person using the Pi, but it should be logged in as a different user. So now I can see I'm at remote 2 at Raspberry Pi. So see if you can get this remote desktop connection into your Raspberry Pi for this. Again, remember to take screenshots of things. So again, remember to take screenshots of your commands that you tried earlier. And again, once you get this connection set up, take a screenshot of that and just paste them into this document here. And then again, hopefully you're sharing this document, so your partner can see it too, and you both submit a link to that shared document. No, just that's all. And again, if they're not there, right there. And I think you got 3 on the team back. Okay. So some of the commands that aren't gonna work there, if you don't, so type in LS. No, just LS. So that lists off the current files. Well, so you have a document. Well, you're in the Raspberry Pi here. Okay, so but where did you remote desktop into it here? This one. So again, you see different folders there, but if you type in LS here, you don't see any thing. So you can list out, there's a hidden file, and LS basically minus J. There are some hidden files there. That's one of the commands you can do. It's actually supposed to. And what's the other command? There's another command. It's like print versus the show. Okay, yes, right. So now we've got your 2 commands. Take a picture of that and put it in your document. Yeah, well, the same commands are down here, so you can do it down here too. Okay. Take a picture of that. I mean, you can just do on this the Windows Shift S. And then just grab this section, grab it. And then switch to your document. And then click your cursor on it. And just put the there. And it'll show up. Okay, and then I'll go to the second document. There should be some other commands in the second one. And try those out. Yeah, can she get some help?
Wait, I didn't read it like that.
I'm trying to give my kids a hard time today, because some of them skipped class yesterday all day on Twin Cities. Yeah, I went to the career fair. I was trying to make myself better. I gotta get a job.
I'm coming back. This is broken.
Yeah.
Wait, I think now I'm going back in.
We did.
Nothing popped out. Absolutely nothing.
What are you guys doing? Are you done yet? Oh, you're doing virtual.
We're on the last.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know about this.
So the last time we created that lab, we created a Windows one, but we just wanted to say, take a creating Linux sheet. Yeah, it's like within that sandbox. And then try to, remote into that. Yes. Okay, so your Pi is over there, nice. You were able to secure shell SSH into that Pi? That's what they do, I'm guessing. Yes, right, you did that worked, okay. And you created another user there? Okay, what that user is called, okay, okay, and then this is just not connected to it. So. You can more desktop, right? And that's the same thing, right? I can remote. And then remote. Are you hitting enter? It's fine. It's not okay. I'm not sure what's the default button. I'm just, yeah, I'm not sure, I'm not sure. I just think it would be worthwhile one of the times to actually click the OK button rather than the enter key, just see if that helps. I'm not saying it will, say it would be worth testing out. See, it works so much. Oh, what is going on with this? Right, yeah. I don't know, that is strange.
User, I don't know.
Right.
You're better than Second remote.
All right. Okay, well, just take a picture of that and submit that, okay? I believe you're doing a good, you're close. I don't know if I can't figure it out, that's, or if Ellie can't figure it out, that's as good as we can get.
Oh, yeah.
Who did you talk to yesterday? James, you talked to someone?
No, I don't think we're gonna get much further. Yeah, thanks. I mean, to be fair. Like a shine.
Right. Yeah, right. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so like I would go there. Somewhere else, like.
I was surprised when I was looking through some of the jobs, I thought maybe down there they have, but I was surprised how many of them were only hiring like full-time places or something like that. Yeah. Right, okay, yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll just show you the files there.
Gonna be remote.
It's an actual. Yeah. No, so he was like, oh, what is that? Like, I'm so sorry.
Dude, pull some strings or something. Oh. Oops. Okay, I'm gonna pop in one more time to talk about the fourth and final part here. So again, hopefully you've done a remote desktop into your machine here, your Raspberry Pi there. And we're using, again, remote desktop computing as our connection, because that's what the Microsoft recommends for connecting to their virtual machines too. I'll just note there's another way of connecting to Raspberry Pis called VNC, virtual, I don't even know what it is. VNC, that's what so when I'm in class and I'm connected to my Pi, I use VNC because again, I want to run my Pi on the same screen so it shows up here. I can't have two screens. And I need Windows up too. So I always VNC into my remote computer. And again, in your computer here, you can type in Windows, you can type in VNC. Real VNC viewer is installed on these machines. It's not installed on all Windows machines, but we have them installed on this machine. So again, in a later lab, we'll probably have you do this. But just so you know, there are at least two ways of remoting into a computer. I, at home, actually use Google Remote Desktop to do the similar thing because it's built into Chrome. Okay, the last thing then is part 4. We're going to use Microsoft Azure Connect a Virtual Machine. Now, there used to be a tutorial for this. They kind of took it down. So we're going to use the Windows tutorial, but we're going to create a Linux virtual machine. So we're going to go back to the tutorial from last class here. Oops, I got to start my puzzle. 2 rocks. Again, we've got to get the sandbox all set up, review our permissions, accept the different permissions for the sandbox, and then get the sandbox all set up. Hopefully, wait a little while for that. But again, we're going to go to step 3, and we're going to create this virtual machine in their sandbox. But we're going to do a Linux virtual machine here, and in particular, oops, did I tell you to create? In particular, we're going to do an Ubuntu server here as that sort of stuff, because there are different. Linux is, well, Unix is a real broad term. Linux is kind of an open source version of Unix, and within Linux there are a lot of flavors there. So Red Hat and Ubuntu and Sisu, there are different flavors within Linux, and we're just going to choose one, and we're going to choose Ubuntu here. So again, once this is it, I got an hour left on my time. I'm going to go down here and click on this Azure portal. And again, I don't have the Microsoft Authenticator app. I really have to do that because I keep doing that, but I haven't done that yet. So I'm just going to log in with my phone and have it text me a message. So we're just going to create a virtual machine like we did the other day, Azure virtual machine. Again, it should be a concierge subscription with the Learn group here. And again, the image right now, this is set up to be a Ubuntu server automatically here. So I'm just going to leave that there. And in fact, I'm going to leave everything as is. I don't think I have to change anything. Oh, down here, no, I think I can leave everything here and just say review and create. Once, well, did I create a user? Oh, I'm going to actually change the user to a password user, I think. What did I do here? Yeah, so I'm going to change the user account there's a way you can download a file and set it up with a secure file format, but I'm going to switch this to password, create a username and a password. And I need a secure password. So again, just like before, I'm going to write this down somewhere. I'm going to use the same password and username I did the other day because it's still here. Okay, so yeah, change the account type to password and that, and then you should be able to review and create. Yeah. Something wasn't set up. Oh, and oh, I think we have to create a virtual network here. Did you guys have to create a virtual network when you did it? Maybe let me switch to a different go back to basics and see. I'm going to switch this back to US West to and see if that looks better. Oh, the machine name was not there, so this is going to be Tom. What?
Same service.
No, we want Ubuntu as the actual image. Just make sure the image here is Ubuntu with Linux. Everything else is similar. Okay, now let's see if that'll work. I'm not sure why it's asking me to create a virtual network, but I'm just doing that to see if that will work. Okay, let's see. And then once you have that created, it should have an IP address. So we want to try to secure shell into it and see if we can do that and put a screenshot of that. If you get that working, you can also try the remote desktop into it also and see if that'll work. But all you need to post here is a secure shell into this for this. I'm not sure if it's configured, if you'll be able to remote desktop with the default configuration. Okay, so see how that goes. If you need help, ask around. I'll wait on this. Like we're deployed. Here's our public address. There.